Thank you, councillors. Thank you, staff members. Thank you, members of the public, and anyone tuning online. Welcome back to the first briefing session of 2024. Wishing everyone here a very happy 2024 and looking forward to it. Obviously, for those who haven't attended briefing sessions before, this is an informal session. No decisions will be made tonight. It's an opportunity to work through next week's agenda for elected members to ask any questions or any clarifications on any points to form our decisions for next week. So, councillors, we do have apologies from Councillor Quain and Councillor Steck, who are both away. Are there any declarations of interest for tonight's agenda? Thank you. We will be having a deputation item, the planning item, 10.4.1 I think it was. We will deal with that when we get to that item. So working our way through the agenda, councillors, our first item there, the minutes from the advisory committee. We do normally ask the chair to give an update from that committee, fully acknowledging this was back before Christmas. But the chair of the Heritage Advisory Committee, is that still you, Councillor Smith? Are you the chair of that group?
Pardon?
Are you the chair of the Heritage Advisory Committee?
Yes, I am.
Yes. Just any update from that committee?
No,
I do.
we haven't had a meeting
Since December was there, well, looks like.
before the...
Sure. All good. Thank you. (10.3.1) Councillors, the proposed City of Bunbury parking amendment. Any questions on that item? Thank you. 10.3.2, schedule of accounts paid. Any questions? Thank you. 10.3.3, schedule of accounts paid again for December. Any questions? Thank you. 10.3.4, financial management report to the end of November. Any questions? Thank you. 10.3.5, financial management report to the end of December. Any questions on that one? Thank you. 10.4.1, as I mentioned, we have the request for deputation for Mr. Matt Panuccio on this item. I will just ask Matt to join us now. Matt, you have 10 minutes. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor and members of the Council, for having us tonight. I'll just touch briefly on my speaking for against the officer recommendation. So I work away and there is no lockable storage on my premises whatsoever, let alone one of adequate size. So I would like to have the size of the shed requested, obviously to store. I've got a big boat, that's 7.5 metres. I've got a full drive. I've got building materials looking to renovate the house, and also storage for furniture whilst doing this renovation. As for aesthetically, the impacted or boundary blocks to the proposed shed are 500 to 800 metres mil higher than my actual block. So aesthetically, my ridge height would be the same height as their patio ridge height, which is one of the concerns, being a 5.3 metre ridge. Because the block height at the back is a step up, it would create some much needed privacy as the back rear neighbour looks straight into my backyard, and he's also in agreement with that. Noise mitigation, my back fence borders 5 units and then Blair Street, so that also would help with a bit of noise mitigation. And the preservation of a 1960s character home. Look, at the end of the day, I could demolish the house and build a nice new modern 3-car garage with a small shed at the back, but I don't really want to do that. I'd like to have the adequate storage at the back and keep the preservation of the house and add on the character as all the other houses in the street. And yeah, if any questions.
Thank you, Matt. We don't have the opportunity for Q&A in this session, but if any elected members want to have a conversation with you afterwards, I'm sure they can do.
Yep.
So thanks for that presentation. Grab a seat and we'll ask if there's any questions from elected members to staff. Yeah, CEO, so I probably just note there is an executive recommendation there and an alternative recommendation. So I did just ask the CEO to just probably explain why there are two recommendations on that. And I'll just ask the CEO to maybe touch on that.
So, thank you, Mayor. The Mayor is correct, and you'll see in your report there is an alternative recommendation. So clearly from a pure planning perspective, the officers have put the recommendation up not to support. However, as you can see later in the report, they're unable to recommend approval due to significant variations. However, an alternative recommendation has been provided should Council wish to approve the application, noting that no objections were received to the proposal. So on a pure planning grounds, the officers have made that recommendation, but the alternative recommendation should Council wish to move that is there in the report. So it's something that we will try and look at in these sorts of areas where we can do an alternative recommendation that assists Council. We will certainly try to do that. Gareth Webber is also here from our acting senior planner to talk to any further technical questions, but I wanted to point that out, Mayor.
Thank you, CEO. Was there any other questions? Councillor Kozisek?
Yeah, I just have a query about the alternative recommendation. What is it about that is so different to the actual plans that have been drawn up? Why doesn't give a lot of explanation about it?
CEO?
So I think like I've just tried to point out, from a pure planning perspective, and you look at some of the report, it talks about the bulk and scale and some of those areas in the current development. If you look at the overshadowing, the impact on solar access, so there is the pure planning grounds. The alternative recommendation really almost just provides a way to set those aside and really give you a way to approve it in accordance with the approved plans as they currently stand, with those conditions that are part of it. So we recognise that from a planning perspective, those issues that we've raised in the report. However, should Council wish to approve it in accordance with the plans they currently sit, that the alternative recommendation is designed to do that.
Councillor Steele.
Thank you. So I can see that by the boundary, it's 50 centimetres and 20 centimetres close. Why can't it just be brought out that 50 centimetres? So that one was ticked off.
See, that might be a technical question.
Probably as we get more technical, Mayor, I might just ask Gareth if he's got a comment in relation to that.
Through the Mayor, based on the height of the shed triggers the setback to be slightly larger. Generally, a shed is required to be set back a metre from the side and rear boundary, but due to this size, that's what's caused the larger setback. Officers did speak to the applicant to amend the plans, but ultimately decided to go with plans as is.
Thank you.
I don't feel like I've been answered, only because if it's only 50 centimetres, I know it's height, that's fine, but if you've got, we're asking to, approve a metre higher than what is allowed, or in one stage, 1.5 metres, which, fine, but I know it sounds like 50 centimetres, I'm not quite sure why they can't just pull it out 50 centimetres, because I'm just going by the drawings.
I can clear that up if you
I don't really want to set that precedent to have answers from the floor. Sorry, Matt. I fully understand. Maybe that's a good conversation we can have when we close this meeting. I just don't want to set a precedent. We're having conversations with the floor. I think in answer to Councillor Steele's question, though, that question is for the applicant. As Gareth just indicated, they have gone back to him saying, "Would you like to modify the plans?" The applicant has said, "No, this is the plans we want." So that might just be a conversation we can have in a very short period when we close this meeting off. And please understand that setting the precedent of having conversations. Thank you. Is there any other questions besides that, Councillor Steele? Other questions, councillors?
Sorry, Jason, I was just looking through that. There's 3 no objection. Yeah. There's no one subjected it from the neighbours, so it seems a fairly, to my knowledge anyway, simple and straightforward, apart from minor alterations. Is it need to go through the council for this, or is it, because if we don't approve it, it's going to go through the SAT. It says on the one of the thing, in 28 days, is that right?
So, Councillor Ramesh, so as was indicated, under planning grounds, under our current policies, this can't be approved. So that's otherwise, if it was fitting within our current policies, it wouldn't come to council. So this doesn't comply with our planning policies. That's why it's come to us. As has been indicated, there is a potential there for us to overrule or ignore those policies and approve it. And that's up for this council to make that decision. That there's been given an option there as an alternative recommendation to do that. But on pure planning policies, that the officers can't accept this as it stands. Sure. That's why it's come to us. Yeah, through CEO.
So the acting director of State Communities has come.
Yeah, just through the Mayor, just to clarify too, the actual adjoining properties, it wasn't that we didn't receive any objections, but actually received support. There's actually in the attachments, in the confidential attachment, they actually are supporting the application, which is also part of the reason why the alternative recommendation was put up.
Yep. Are there any further questions?
Just briefly, I think I know the answer already, but this shed is for storage only. It can't later then be business turned into a business.
It would have to have, if it was outside the normal things, we'd have to get approval to do that. But CEO.
Thank you, Mayor. I think you'll see that there is a definition in the alternative recommendation number 1, that the development of the subject of the development approval must comply with the definition of an outbuilding as contained in the state planning policy 7.3. So that would safeguard that.
Any further questions on this item? Thank you, councillors. I do believe that does bring us to a close. So I may just, I'll close this meeting at 5:43, and in doing so, I might just invite Matt back to have a chat to us as a general conversation. So this briefing session is now closed. If people have to go, they can go, but we might be able to clarify a few points there. Thank you.